Hi, I'm Megan.
And I'm Ashley, and in this video you will learn about some of the key psychologists that you learned throughout this course.
There are some acronyms to remember the things that some psychologists developed.
To start off this video, we're going back in time to the birth of psychology in 1879.
William Wundt is the father of scientific psychology and also the creator of the psychology branch called structuralism. In his work with structuralism, he would use structuralism that relied on the use of introspection. Introspection is the self-reflective observation of one's own sensations and feelings. One also studied cognitive experiences.
If you hear or see the word unconscious, the person is most likely Freud. Freud studied people through the unconscious mind. He also developed psychoanalytical theory, which includes free association and psychoanalysis. Free association is when a person relaxes and says whatever comes to mind. And psychoanalysis is a theory of personality that attributes thoughts and actions to unconscious motives and conflicts. Freud also created the id, ego, and superego. To tell you in simpler terms, the id is the devil on your shoulder, which is unconscious. The superego is the angel on your shoulder, which is conscious. And the ego is your reality, your mediator between the id and the superego, which is conscious and preconscious. With Freud's 5 psychosexual stages of child development, you just need to remember orange, animals, poop, lucky, gold. It's funny, but it works. Orange stands for oral, which is 0 to 18 months, where pleasure focuses on the mouth. The child explores the world by putting toys and stuff in their mouth. Animal stands for anal, which is 18 to 36 months, where pleasure focuses on bowel and bladder elimination. The child is learning how to be potty trained. Poop is phallic, which is 3 to 6 years, where the pleasure zones is the genitals. A boy would experience Oedipus complex, where they're jealous of their father for the love of their mother. And a girl would experience electrical complex, which is the opposite of the Oedipus complex. And lucky stands for latency, which is 6 to puberty, where the child has dormant sexual feelings and their personality is set. And lastly, gold is for genital, which is in adulthood stage, where the child has maturation of sexual interest.
A Russian psychologist named Ivan Pavlov elucidated classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov is the one who discovered classical conditioning, which his work provided a basis for later behavioralists like John Watson and B.F. Skinner. Ivan Pavlov developed principles of classical conditioning using dogs. He would use classical conditioning to train the dogs to salivate at a tone. He identified the major components in studies with dogs in the salivation reflex. He did this by using a tone or bell and food. The neutral stimulus was the bell/tone. The unconditioned stimulus was the food. This unconditioned stimulus then produced an unconditioned response of salivation. Then comes the bell, which is the conditioned stimulus, with the salivation becoming the conditioned response. Next is Harry Harlow. Harry Harlow studied the attachment in monkeys. He also identified bodily contact as important to basic trust. He did this by taking young newborn monkeys and separating them from their mothers. He would put the monkeys into a cage with either a monkey mother made from terry cloth or wire mother. Then they would go to the terry cloth mother because they would always provide more comfort. However, the wire mother had the nutritions for water, but they decided to always choose the terry cloth mother.
Festinger developed the cognitive dissonance theory. Cognitive dissonance theory is a theory that we act to reduce the discomfort dissonance we feel when two of our thoughts, cognitions, are inconsistent. So for example, you know that littering is bad for the environment, but you encourage your friends to spit their gum out on the ground because you just did it. Your first cognition is knowing that littering is bad for the environment, and the second cognition is spitting the gum out onto the floor. To reduce this dissonance, the person is feeling they should revise the way they behave and stop littering on the ground, and also encourage others to stop littering. John Piaget studied cognitive development, which led him to discover the 4 main developmental stages of a child's thought process. Smart, people, cook, fish is how you remember Piaget's 4 stages. SMART stands for sensory motor stage, which is birth to 2 years. The baby explores the world around them. The child at this stage lacks object permanency. So if you give the baby a toy and then hide the toy behind your back or under a blanket, the child will think the toy is gone. People stands for pre-operational stage, which is 2 to 7 years. The child uses pretend play, develops language, and uses intuitive reasoning. The child lacks conservation. They believe that volumes of water are different even though they are the same. The child lacks reversibility, meaning they can solve 4 plus 2, but they can't solve 2 plus 4. The child is also egocentric in this stage. They are not able to think through someone else's perspective. COOK stands for concrete operational stage, which is 7 to 11 years. The child uses operational thinking, classification, and can think logically in concrete context. And lastly, FISH stands for formal operational stage, which is 11 to 15 years. The child uses abstract and idealist thoughts as well as hypothetical deductive thinking.
Our next person is Maslow. Maslow was a humanist who believed that lower levels dominate an individual's motivation as long as they're unsatisfied. Maslow developed the hierarchy of needs theory. Maslow's pyramid of human needs, beginning at base with psychological needs that must first be satisfied before higher level safety needs, and then psychological needs become active. Physiological needs are food, water, warmth, and rest. This is a basic need. Safety needs is security and safety, and this is also a basic need. Belongingness and love needs are intimate relationships and friends. This is a psychological need. Esteem needs are prestige and feelings of accomplishment. This is a psychological needs. Self-actualization is achieving one's full potential, including creative activities, and this is a self-fulfillment needs. A great way to remember how the hierarchy of needs theory goes, remember, people need safety before elevator shelves. People need is psychological needs, safety is safety, before is belongingness, elevator is esteem, and shelves is self-actualization.
The next one is Kohlberg. Kohlberg studied a cognitive development with people's moral development. He created the Heinz dilemma, which is Heinz's wife was sick and the doctor offered him a drug that was expensive but could also save her life. He could not afford the drug, so he stole the drug for her. Then he asked, should he have stolen the drug? He created the 3-stage moral development of how and why people responded to the Heinz dilemma. The first stage was pre-conventional morality, where children show morality to avoid punishment or gain reward. So they base their action as good or bad depending if they got caught. So if they did like a bad action and got caught, then they did a bad thing. The second stage was conventional morality, where social rules and laws are upheld for their own sake. People were rule followers and didn't want to break the rules. And the third stage was post-conventional morality, which affirms people's agreed upon rights or follows personally perceived ethical principles. So they do what they believe is right, even if it is against the rules.
Our next person is Diana Baumrind. Baumrind was a clinical and developmental psychologist who is known for her research on parenting styles. Baumrind identified different parenting styles: authoritative, authoritarian, and permissive. Authoritative parenting style is where the parents are both demanding and responsive. So if you want to go out but it's past your curfew, talk it out and compromise and have a new plan. Authoritarian parenting styles is where the parents impose rules and expect obedience. So this is usually not the most wanted parenting style of like a child, but some parents are this way and it is a helpful way, but it's just very demanding. And then permissive parenting styles is where the parents submit to their children's desires. So if I want to go out late at night, they're like, sure, go ahead, whatever. Even if it's way past my curfew.
And lastly, we have Bandura. Bandura is a behaviorist who studied the effects of observational learning and social learning. He studied this by seeing how children modeled adults in a playroom. Modeling is the process of observing and imitating a specific behavior. Bandura had kids watch others hit a bubble doll in a room. Then, when the child was in a playroom with the bubble doll and other toys, the child acted more violently towards the doll. The child used other toys within the room to beat the doll with, so basically the child was acting more violently towards the bubble doll than when they were watching someone. Again, this is just showing how modeling encouraged the child to act more violently towards the bubble doll.
If you stayed until the end, then you learned about the work William Wundt did as a structuralist psychologist.
The work of Freud with the unconscious mind.
You would have heard smart people cook fish to remember the stages of PJ's cognitive development.
Learned people need safety before elevator shelves from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You also learned about other important psychologists throughout the video.
Thank you for watching our final project for AP Psychology. Hope you learned a lot and good luck.